Hey, what up? Saying hello to my Vibe Squad. That's what I'm going to call us. Welcome back to Amanisvibe. Today is December the 4th, and it's a really huge day for Olandria Carthen because she's speaking at Harvard today. And so I've been walking around with a lot of thoughts, you know how I do. But I was able to record them today while I was trying to eat breakfast. So much so that in recording it, my breakfast got cold. But I have a really busy time. So I haven't seen anything yet, but I will get something together for you later. And you know that I prefer to tell a story than to just post a clip, but you'll hear my thoughts on what I would love for Alandrea, and also my thoughts on what I think could be like the big secret shoot. I don't know. I'm always open to be wrong, and I'm always open to discussion. Okay, intelligent discussion. Please try not to cuss me out, but please listen to my think piece. I took a lot of time to put this together. I may have repeated myself because I do have post-concussion syndrome, and though I try to take a few notes, I could not remember if I said something. Okay, but anyways, have a good listen. And I look forward to connecting with some of you in the comments. And I do hope to maybe try to do a live maybe in the next week or so where we can all connect. So thank you so much. Next thing you're going to hear is my voice again during the think piece. And that's what's up. Here it comes. Hello, good morning to my YouTube peeps. Thank you so much for following me and subscribing. And I'm here today with thoughts on Alandrea. It's centered on Alandrea, but also on other things and on Nick as well, because today is December the 4th. It's her big day. And I was trying to get more information, which is why I do have the piece that features Alandrea and what is going to happen today, how she'll be getting an award and speaking. This is huge. Harvard University is huge, especially even with the politics that have gone on, or politics, as they say in Jamaica, of all the things they're trying to do that were happening with Harvard and DEI and stuff. The fact that Olandria is speaking there is actually very significant in many different ways, okay? And she's such a brilliant speaker. And I think it's so wonderful that the Gen Zs, especially that generation, I feel like she's very important to them, the same way that Serena has captured kind of the minds and the hearts of that generation as well. And I love that they're nothing alike, but they're both very, very strong women. So I never really take notes, but because I talk freestyle, because my brain, I'm working on a lot of things in my own life that are a bit stressful. So Love Island is still my escape, even though sometimes I'm upset with the things that I see. It's still like such a good thing for me to continue to work on. So I took notes just so I remember, because I really do always freestyle. So my notes are not in depth. It's just so that I stay on topic. And I hope this can still record when I switch to another page. I don't know about that. I've never done that before. So I guess I have to test it first and hope that it's still recording. Let me now go back and see. It seemed like it stopped. Okay, let me see now. Let me see. Okay, so I'm still not sure if it's stopping when I go to try to go to the page with my notes. And then, my phone. I've been learning to do a lot of these things on my phone that I normally would do on a computer. So I also thought of doing this live, maybe like off camera, and then that way it's recorded there. Just with like an image. So, but let me see. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to go over to the other page. I'm going to go to the page where my notes are, and I'm going to see if it continued to record. Okay. I think it was still recording. Okay. It still is recording. It's showing me that. Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, I'm still going to go check again because, I have to check. I have to check because that's just who I am. And, I worked in radio and different things for years, and that's the worst, is to actually record something for 20 minutes and then you go and none of it happened. None of it was caught. But okay, so these are my notes. So here's what I wanted to talk about today. I do see what's happening online, and I'm having my breakfast of an apple. I'm having breakfast at 1:45 because things do take me a lot longer, especially administrative things. Like I can still work and do things, schedule logistics, all of this. But when I have to fill out like intricate forms, it just makes my brain very tired. Kind of the same way as like using a computer also does that. So I'm eating because eating is important. And since I'm off camera, you can't see. You can just hear. So I'm eating an apple. I guess I could pause for an apple break. Oh, it resumed when I got the egg. That's hilarious. I didn't even touch anything. Okay. So I grew up with a strict West Indian mother, so you're not supposed to talk with your mouth full, even though y'all can't see me. But okay. So here's where I'm at. Alandrea has a huge day today. She's speaking at Harvard. I did a feature on it on my page. Please find it if you can. And I wanted to try to get information that maybe people don't have. That's always what I try to do. I literally work like a journalistic reporter when I do want to put a story together or a vlog vignette about the Islanders. And so I was able to find because everybody that's getting this award is donating the I believe the monetary amount to a charity. So I did find out who Alandrea's charity is going to be, and I did post that. I'm assuming where I found that. I honestly cannot remember that person must be one of her friends because they knew that inside information, and I haven't seen that anywhere. So I wanted to talk about Alandrea, about Nick, and about the fans. Like those are the three things that stand out to me. I yesterday went back to August, I think it was August 18th, after the show had finished, and I did a think piece on it. And a lot of people had already done things, so sometimes I post things later because it takes me a while to think about what I want to say, especially then when I'm on camera, setting it up, the lighting, the thing is a whole thing. Um, and I just usually talk, have a few notes, and do things in one take because it takes a lot out of me, especially the whole camera setup takes a lot. So this is why I've learned I can just record this and y'all will listen. I learned that from Stan the Man, as I call him, who revealed himself. And he's kind of cute, by the way. Okay. All right. So today is a big day. Harvard, it's huge. So I want to talk about my hopes for today before I go off track. It is my hope that Nick is actually with her today at Harvard in Boston, or a family member or one of her best friends, because it's such a huge event. I wouldn't be surprised if her parents are there again, and how proud they have to be. Oh my goodness. Seeing them at the Give Her Flowers event, honestly, it warmed my heart so much, okay? So that is the first thing, is that I want whoever is with her today, that they are a part of her tribe, like her ride and dies are there supporting her, and that of course she's going to get brand new fans. And of course, yes, there's a lot of vitriol and hate online, and it is terrible. And I want to let you know that I actually did take the time to read things the other day, because I can't, it's a lot. It affects my own mental health because I really try to keep away from the negativity. And it's also why I have my page as a positive vibes only. And it's also why you will not ever really see me have negative headlines, or if there's a lot of negativity that people are saying, that's not going to be a headline over here. All right, we understand that. Okay, so I was offline on the weekend. is when Strippergate happened. I had collected things about F1, so I have Ion Broomfield and Alandrea. That whole thing was amazing. I love Ion, and she's Canadian. So I love putting that together. I remember even I had some sound problems, so I had to redo it. And of course, a lot of times by the time I post, the people that are fast on this, they've already posted, but I prefer not to rush things that are important. And what I've learned is even though people might not click on everything right away, over time they find my page, they go through things. People are finding things from last year now and commenting. So I do so appreciate the people that are following me and my subscribers. Okay. I also wanted to refute the fallacy that you become monetized when you get 1,000 subscribers. You don't. Because I still need 3,000 live watch hours. I'm not sure what they are. I think I understand, but I have just over 1,000 now because I know that there are some things that will be like a quick hit that people will go on. And I also have learned through doing this, people love shorts more than they love my videos and longer pieces. But you know what? I know what I plan to do with this channel over time. And there will be shorts now and then, but I'm definitely hoping to move into more of, interviews and think pieces and just really things that get us talking, interacting, even about the Islanders, right? And also figuring out how to do a live because I'm still not quite sure. But yeah, so I was offline when Strippergate happened and I didn't know what was going on. So I did take the time to go back and look at what was happening because I had already prepared my post. You can schedule them and I will log on Nick with the toothpaste and all that stuff. I'll go and capture that stuff, save it, and then just schedule it for later so I can go on about my life, right? So I really stayed away from that whole thing, but then I came back to look at everything from the woman that brought it up to the hardcore fans and stands to the I feel like every single reviewer talked about it, and here's my stance on it. One is I do believe he was in two places. Don't come for me. It's obvious when you see the pictures. I do believe that the first excess club or whatever, he was there, and that I do believe he was at, you call it a spicy place, so I believe he was there. I also believe that because this person wanted to capture it because of who he was, that's how that information got out there. It might have been something that he did and nobody ever would have known, and maybe he would have talked to Olandria about it. I have no idea. I want to talk about this because I have really liked Alandrea since the show. I wasn't part of, you guys seeing things because I just watched a show and I'm very good at being offline. Okay. And one of the things in every speech that she's talked about, she talks about God. She talks about planning for her future. She's talked about her partner. She's talked about she won't live with anybody till there's a ring on her finger. She has those old-fashioned Southern values. FYI, so does Serena. When the show ended, Cordell moved from Dallas to California. They do not live together. I've seen Serena in interviews. Yes, he's there a lot, or she's at his place, but until they are married, she's not living with somebody. So just so you know, there's somebody else with those values that exist, and she talks about it often. I just wanted to bring that up because when I heard Alandrea say that in that live that time, I go, oh, Serena's like that too, right? Just brought me back. And I don't think they're the same person. They're very different. I've been following and posting about Serena since the show, and Alandrea, and they're very different people, both very strong women. And you know what? All of these people, Shelly, Alandrea, Serena, they're all friends. They're all acquaintances or friends outside of the realm of the show, So I also just wanted to say that as well, and there's not a competition for me when I'm posting about Serena or Leah or Janae or anybody that I share. It is not a competition. Alandrea is her own person. She stands on herself, on her laurels, on her morals, on her beauty. And this is why the team that has come together for her, because they could see how special she was watching the show. And there is something about her. And I felt and feel the same way about Cordell Beckham. Doesn't mean that Serena's not special or other people aren't, but there's a certain quality that they have that is, it just stands out. And Cordell also has lived the dreams that he spoke happened to him almost as soon as he left the show. And that's what's happening with Alandrea. The same type of thing. Things are coming into fruition. No matter that the fans are manifesting and doing all these things, no, they're happening because they were meant to happen, because of who Alandrea is, and that is going to continue. And after she speaks at Harvard, there's going to be so much more happening for her, and I love that. Okay, so I post because I like the Islanders. There's things that I like about these young people that intrigue me and that make me want to tell their story and show that to people who have no idea who Love Island is, which is most everybody in my personal life. Okay, but the reason I want to talk about Strippergate, and because I see the fans defending it, and I went online this week to see, oh my goodness, like, I just want to ask the fans, please, loyal fans of Nick and Alandrea, stop fighting on these pages. It looks terrible. I mean, I don't ever read it, but I took the time to read it because I'm like, how can I talk about it if I don't know what's going on? So I did. I did look on pages. I read it. It looks, I don't know if you guys have ever looked at it. And that's why, too, in my guidelines, I have think before you post about how the person would feel. So I want you to imagine Alandrea being at home, going online, going on to one of her pages, one of her fan pages, and seeing the back and forth about Strippergate. Like, just imagine. So one, she could have known, she could not have known. Either way, it reads and looks absolutely deplorable and terrible, this fighting. And I just would like to encourage the fans to be like her. Like, be silent. Let your successful posting, sharing her stories, be how you support her. If you listen to Alandrea when she talked to Angel Reese, really listen to her, you will hear the pain in her voice about how hard it is sometimes for the fans and what she's dealing with. And you heard that with Nick as well during the Snapchat retreat. So please try to listen to that part because they're letting you know. And just so you know, to me, Nick is a lot more like Janae, who definitely was more open and posting, and she still posts more. Serena was never into it. Cordell, not that much. There's always been this type of stuff with the fans, and it's still going on now. The negativity about Serena, who she is, why this, it's still going on, like what they're doing with Alandrea. So for people who didn't know that this has happened before, it has. And to this day, even on my page, somebody has written that Serena never really liked Cordell, and people will argue that point to the end of time, and it's over a year later. All right? You can't change that. I don't know who these people are with no names online, no faces, and that's, I think, what is a little bit feels more intense for me is one of the artists that I truly love is Halle Bailey, and she had a concert last night. I couldn't find it here in Canada, but she dealt with a lot of hate headlines and so many things online in the last year. And she's a young mother, and she always, no matter what, never responded. And she has been rising to success almost every day. And I, as an older person, am like, God bless her. I don't know how Halle does it. I don't know how. And as I say, working with young people, when I say youth, I'm talking like 15 to 30, encouraging them always like to be the best that they can be, which is what Alandrea does when you listen to her speak, okay? And this is why I think Strippergate, my thoughts on Strippergate. I told you, I do think he was in a spicy club for sure. He was in two different places. People are arguing that forever, but no, it's clear from watching it. Whatever, okay? But I'm going to talk about that and Alandrea and her brand. There is no way that that is good for her brand. You know why? Because I was offline and wanted to know what happened, and it is all over the internet. It is all over the internet. There's headlines everywhere, and it's disgusting. It's not good. It is, for me, I'm thinking of Alandrea. Nick's a guy. He'll get over it. People forgive men easier. So yeah, but Alandrea, it doesn't look good for her. And she's always the one that's really speaking up about Nick and his support and everything. Nick doesn't do it as much because Nick is just who he is. I have seen people say they think that Nick is online for attention. He has always been this way because when I talked about him being on the show, found out he was a model, when I did like look up his name, he must have had like 3 or 4 YouTube pages. And I'm not on X and I'm not on TikTok. I'm not X, Twitter, TikTok. I'm not on any of those. Um, but yeah, he's who he is, has always been. And I think that's why his mom and sister also really like Alandrea and how grounded she is and what she brings out in him. And that's what they said on the show. So this is also for the fans. I would like you to just try to not write and fight. Yes, try not to write and fight. It really looks terrible, and it's everywhere. It's on famous designers' walls. It was on the Reisman's walls. It's on, sometimes people had to turn off their comments. So that's it. That's like my just please, because today is huge for her. And I'm hoping that her family's with her because I love that her mother and father and uncle went to the Give Her Flowers event and how proud they were. And I love posting those pictures and I love posting about Alandrea. I'm not going to be online today. I have a lot of things in my personal life and I haven't seen anything. So I'm just doing, I often make these recordings not knowing what's going on online right now. So let's talk about last night. So, and Nick and how hard it is for him to stay offline and how he got in trouble because he's on Snapchat incessantly and letting people know things, right? He can't hold water. We know that. I've seen his lives. So so yesterday when I realized like he was traveling, he's in New York, he was here, he was there, and I thought he was gonna do bad Santa, like that guy, Billy Bob Thornton. That's what I thought was going on. So then I saw Hot Santa with the Kardashian. Okay, so I wrote on my wall that I made a clip for y'all. I don't post the K's. That does not fit in with my moral compass, who I am, what I do, my work in DEI youth. So that's why I wrote, this will probably be the only clip, but I did put a clip for y'all on my page because there are some people that aren't on all the other pages and I still want them to know like what's going on. So I did that against my own principles. And someone asked me why, and I answered, I said, yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of the case. And I never have been, and that's just kind of not in the realm of what I do. So when I saw that's where he was, I thought this was going to be like an ongoing thing. But what I can understand now from an agent perspective is that it was probably a gig for him to play that bad Santa for what they were doing for her live TikTok. And Nick is like the man of the moment right now. So that's why that happened. So I don't feel it's going to be something continuous, but that's why I was like, oh no, right? Because I also want the best for him. Not saying that's not, but for me, that's me. This is my bias. I am biased. Okay. I want the best for him. And as much as he doesn't like modeling, y'all are right. Like he's incredible when he models. Of course, he's been doing it since he was 17, right? So I think that Strippergate caused them to break up or have a rift. Personally, I can be wrong. I can always be wrong, but this is what I think happened because I think it all came up online and it was so much. And I always want you to think of how Olandria would feel because she had so many other things going on. She went back and forth to two different events. Like she went from Vegas to LA back to Vegas to finish off the stuff with Liquid IV and Ion. So, which is incredible, right? And she had such a great weekend with the girls and the footage. Everything is so wonderful. So that has to be a damper on her spirits. And also, again, it's not good for her brand. It looks absolutely terrible. So that can't be a positive thing. And I just feel like the fans, the hardcore fans, I'm like, I have a question. Does Nick get a pass no matter what he does because he's a guy? That this is a question because because to me, it's off. But I also think he didn't expect to be all of what happened was due to the other that social media person, trying to get clout. Like I get all of that, but then it just got changed to all these different stories. But if you sit, you look at the picture, the videos, you can see, yeah, that's where he was. It's not good. It happened, okay? I do think it caused a rift. I'm not them, I don't know. But I know that they're strong and they're in a relationship, right? So they would talk about it and deal with it offline. That's it, right? And they know they have fans that want to know stuff. I don't think a statement has to be made for everything. I've never seen statements for things like this before because I keep seeing people demand statements. Nope, it is what it is. It happened. They're going to work it out, okay? And I hope that they can work it out, okay? So the next thing I wanted to talk to y'all about is about the internet skeptics and that they have been around for a long time. They continue to be that way, not believing Serena likes Cordell to this day. And it's a year later. And that's always going to happen. So I just ignore it. Plus, I'm not really on pages in that way. I go on pages to get clips, to get information, to see what's happening, to Google, to be like, okay, how can I get more details on this? What's happening here? With Strippergate, it was more that I was offline and that it was everywhere. It was all over my Instagram. My Instagram is actually personal. It's not about this. So I was like, what? And it is everywhere. It's in like everywhere. So that's why I was like, fans, why are y'all defending this? It's not a good look. Either way, don't defend it. It's not good. And yes, for some people, it's not a big deal depending on where you're from. I get that. They're in a new relationship that's just starting. So I think it would be a big deal to her. If you've listened to Alandrea, as I have, talking about faith, what she wants in a partner, what she's been looking for, not being objectified, all those things, you would know that him being there is not something that she would really like. I can be wrong. I don't know them. That's what I'll always say with that. So that's my biased opinion, but they'll work it out. They'll work it out. The other thing I wanted to say is I know that Nick revealed, because he can't hold water, that there's a big photo shoot coming up, and I saw that they were voted Cosmopolitan Couple of the Year. So I think that's what this. So I'm guessing, I don't know, that they're going to have a huge Cosmopolitan spread because Serena and Cordell had one last year and it was amazing. But the fans, the editor was like, how did people find this early? The fans leaked it before the magazine went up. And so she even did an interview after. She's like, I don't know how they did that. She did an interview with Serena, and it is a gorgeous spread. It's my favorite photo shoot of Serena and Cordell to this day. So that's what I think is going to happen with Alandrea and Nick, because or another, because I'm like, what other huge magazine would it be? That, and the fact that they mention them. So those are my thoughts on that. I could be wrong, but Nick mentioned he has a big shoot. Oh, you'll never guess what it is. So that's what I think. And I'm offline today, full stop. I'm posting this. I will try to catch something about Harvard in between all of the things I have to do today. And please go to my page and look up the piece I have featuring Olandria at Harvard, the award she's getting. I'm so proud of this young lady and all that she's accomplishing. And I'm gonna keep, I'm not doing anything. I do this because I like it. It's no deeper than that. I think it's so nice. And again, it's also because I was writing a play and I have a Gen Z character. And what I realized is when I started to follow Serena and Cordell that I knew nothing about Gen Zs. And that's kind of what led me to, I think, some other people online, Halle Bailey, for instance, and kind of really trying to, so that I could create a character that is so real and how my character in the play talks and everything. But I've always been following Justine since season 2, Sally, Marco and Hannah, not really, more Hannah, Taylor and Bergie, and I always post updates of who's still together. And it's so great too for the fans, even to look back at interviews of these couples, how they work together, how they made it last, especially long distance, like Taylor and Bergie. Wow, like that's 2 years and they're going really strong. But they had a really strong plan that they worked out together. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I remember that Olandria had said they had vacation plans. So I hope that all the things that happened last weekend didn't take away from that. I do feel there's a sadness with Nick since Strippergate. I do feel that. But, I can be wrong because it's the internet and I don't know. So then I can seem parasocial, but it's just how you can tell things like through online. Alandria not posting can be a tactic because she's getting ready for Harvard and she has to focus, right? And also she's starting to post the way Serena does, which is only when she has something. And Serena has posted more about her L'Oreal show because I found out I know one of her stylists is one of her besties, and I found out one of her other besties was this stylist. And the way I found that out was just trying to get information. I'm like, it all makes sense now, which is amazing. I also had on my notes here, the last thing. Ola is back on X and everybody's excited about her wanting to, clap back and stuff. And I'm not, because I think what is powerful about her, and her mother said it in the speech, is about the grace that she uses instead of clapping back. I heard about Olandria being on X when I was looking something else up and saw somewhere there was a whole discussion about it, and she was over there having a grand old time. So I haven't been on X, I haven't been on Twitter since, I can't even tell you guys, but I know that in season 2 it was just the most horrific place. That's where all of the real negativity always happened. And I know for season 6, the same thing. And it's why Leah left and Serena and then Janae, kind of in that order. Because they used to post on there and stuff, but they all left because it just seems like it. I don't know. And the funniest Nick post, I think, is somebody saying, Nick, I was going to come to your event, but I was coming with my friend and you blocked her. And he was like, he basically said, well, I must have blocked her for a good reason. I think he's really funny. Okay. So I'm going to end with, I had done a piece about Nick, and this is what I think Nick needs. I know he said it'll be hard for him to get a manager, but because I'm in the arts and this is my forte, is that what he should have is a personal assistant who's a personal assistant and a roadie, as well as somebody who's a scheduler for the logistics. And because CAA, they're just the agent. They just get him the work. Serena's manager is Nandi. She was a huge exec at Essence, okay? Cordelis had a manager from Time because he's been a model most of his career. That's what he always wanted to do, in case you didn't know. So they have managers that are and that have been with them, friends with them from back in the day. Nandy's from Texas. Kevin Luong, the makeup artist, Texas. When I was doing research last season, I kind of saw all the connections of who's part of Serena's team. Jacob Webster, one of her good friends, I knew about him last year because of Serena. So it's been great to see a lot of the crossover as well. And also, it's not a competition. If I post about Serena, that's not negating Olandria ever. If anything, I have to pause to make sure I can feature Serena and Cordell so that they have their own light on my channel, because yeah, there's so much going on, but I want to make sure that I feature the really important things about Alandrea, that I tell the stories that I want to tell about her modeling, about her career, you know, her speaking engagements, everything she's doing, her awards. I want to make sure that if you go on, you can kind of see the thoroughway of her career as opposed to just posting everything, because and there are people that do that, so that's all good. I can't remember if I talked about Santa or not, because I have a brain injury and I don't remember. But I don't know. I can't remember, you guys. So this is a hard part of my life, so I will just repeat it. If I did, I'm sorry. Is about when I saw Nick doing Santa, I thought he was going to do bad Santa. And then the hot Santa, that he was hilarious. I posted a clip because I'm not a fan of the K's. I feel like I said it, but I recorded this before and deleted it, so I'm not sure. But I just don't want that to be an ongoing partnership, because there's so much more for him. And I also think if he can get at least, even if he doesn't have a logistics person, if he can get somebody who's a personal assistant slash roadie that is a guy that can travel with him, right? That can make sure he has nutritious snacks and food, that they can take care of his meal plans when he travels, they can take care of his scheduling, so that he's not rushing from his motorbike to the airport to get to the gate when boarding was at 11:15 and he's trying to board at 11:30, which is one of the things. So they can help him know, Nick, you know what? When you left LaGuardia Airport, you parked your motorbike, you know, in P2 section 4, so that he doesn't come back from being away and doesn't know where his motorbike is, because those are the things that he definitely needs. and agency, CAA, the top talent agent, that's not what they do, but they are going to get him gigs, and they're going to help him with the bookings. They're going to do the Greek Fest stuff. They're going to get him speaker engagements. I can't speak for them, but I have a feeling that they would prefer him do more modeling, speaker engagements, brand deals, commercials, and the types of things he did with the K's last night, because that's really more what the talent agency is. And the Greek Fest stuff is, of course, the DJing. That's a huge part of him and his goals. So I'm glad that he's doing that. I also would like him to work with DJs. Like, I want to see him with some famous DJs, right? Like Rob Bass. Is it like, I want to see him with DJs, like working with them, actually learning the skills of DJing and really having time to put in that work. Like, I think that also will add, outside of just being popular from the show, having that type of credibility, like he has linked up with a couple of DJs, I think is like, that would be absolutely amazing, you know. And then limit it, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he does one huge DJ gig a month, right? Or if he's going to do Greek Fest, if he has a scheduler or personal assistant, they can do the logistics in a way that is healthier for him. So it's not just gig to gig to gig to gig. It, you know, because at the end of the day, he is going to say yes to everything. That's who Nick is. But if he has a team, that type of team, that type of person in his corner, just like how Serena's manager is, and like how or Alandrea's manager is, you see how her things are booked. You see she's doing different things. I believe that the interview he's doing for Billboard was pre-taped, because just I've seen stuff with him and that guy a couple times before, them hanging out. I feel like it was pre-taped. I hope that he's going to be with Alandrea at Harvard, and I do think they're going to have a cosmopolitan spread. I can be wrong. but that's what I think. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. If I did repeat myself, I'm sorry. You know, at Amanisvibe, it's always a vibe. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Please stay positive. Please know that when I'm talking about fans, or even when I'm talking about people, it's not negative. I think that I feel that some people, you shouldn't be afraid to express yourself. And I was afraid to be a YouTuber because of this. I was so worried about the fans early on. I just posted me in August and I was talking about it then, but a lot of the fans are amazing. I also lastly wanted to plug, is it Kenyiva and Ugona? I hope I'm not saying their names wrong, but they started the Olandria Carthen, and they're branching off a bit and they're focusing on their own career. So please continue to follow and support them because they're such lovely young ladies, and doing a story in them was wonderful. I'm hoping I can interview them in future. In the future, I hope to kind of connect with some other YouTubers as well, like to have like really good positive discussions, as well as with artists, and as well as me work in the Toronto life. I have lots of Toronto life things to put up. I'll probably do that during my Christmas vacation. All right, so stay blessed, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, and you know what I always say, that's what's up. Hi, it's me, Amani. Thank you so much for listening, engaging, and you know what? Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share my posts, like they're pretty cool. Listen when you have time. And you know what we say at Amanisvibe, it's always a vibe. So please don't forget to like and subscribe. And that's what's up.